and I've always wanted to take the piece, and shape it into something that is, I guess, I don't want to say more palatable to me, but is something that maybe represents a story that I would like to tell. Because I feel like there are a lot of pieces of this music that really speak, very universally, and there are pieces of music that I'd even like to add to it. And I know that's kind of a big thing to think about. It's like, can you add to a piece of music by a composer that is so impressive? But I think that's kind of how that stuff starts anyway, and yeah, I think it'll be cool. Very cool. So it's kind of warming up a little bit on that. That is some Bach. It's the Bach Chaconne. I'm I'm exploring, the thing that sometimes classical players do. Um, this whole idea of taking this piece and putting it into something like this, which is a incredible looper. This is the Mobius looper. So kind of taking a piece of it and doing something different with the material. They didn't have loopers back in the time of Bach. So like an example of that might be, taking just, a simple arpeggio. And adding some pizzicato or something like that too. So yeah, you can kind of see when that turns red. That means that I'm recording over the last thing that I did. Yeah, so it's kind of like a groove, right? And maybe that's like taking something bassy and adding that to there. Slowly step out of that backspot we had before. And we could get like crazy with it. So I think what I'm going to do is look at some of the sections and then just consider different sounds. I think, can I mark on this? Let's try this. I got like a pencil here. So essentially what I'm looking at right now is like this area or so, all the way to kind of here as a first section, and it's kind of like what could that be? I think my first thought was this sort of crazy effect. This is my sort of like presets for switching, between different things. So right now this is totally dry. And I'm just going to apply this. So I might look at that and let's see, that's going to be this channel here. I might say that that is a little bit slow, but maybe not. Let's see. So where's that coming at? Yeah, so that looks like that is here. Yes. So let me just change the timing. So right now the length is like that. Let's make sure it is at, yeah, it's actually this effect. Cool. And I have that turned up about 33%. So let's just shorten this, like by a lot. Yeah, it's a lot shorter. So it's going ba-rum, ba-rum. Let's go like this. Close. Maybe just a little bit because I want it to go bum bum ba-rum ba-rum ba-dum ba, so bum bum. About that much space. All right. Yeah, what if it was just a touch slower? Let's see. Because if I want to actually play it faster, then maybe I want to go faster. Let's see. Squeaky on the top there for some reason. Yeah, I think this is the move. So what I'm gonna do, if you ever end up using Reaper, by the way, this script right here called Snapshooter is incredible. You can have it basically morph between different settings. Um, it's amazing. I think you can kind of see. Maybe I'll scoot this over here so you can see a little bit better. If you just look at where it says custom, linear, and then duration, basically I have this automatically switching between each of these presets on these pages just over the course of 30 seconds. Within each of the slots, when you call them from, let's say, you can create a thing called actions. You kind of have to know Reaper for some of this stuff, but you can either have it clicked here, or when you create an action and link it to a button, when you hit that particular button, you can have it go at 3 seconds, or you can set it to go at like a custom time, which can be kind of cool because it actually creates effects as it's switching between other effects. So, sliding, adding reverb, going from a really dry sound, or changing pitch, you can slide between different pitches. It is really cool. So let's see. And I'm just going to add this, and that is now saved forever, I hope. Yeah, so that's that one. And I'm going to go to my, make it completely dry just to test. And then when I go to apply, yeah, it'll kind of smoothly add that. this is kind of like the steps right here. This little window. So this will allow me to go from, let's see here. Yeah, this will allow me to skip between the different presets here. So right now it's on. Yeah, so there's nothing in 34, which is what's being queued here. And then whatever is in 17 is hard to see right now. Let me see, 25, 24, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so that's totally dry. So what can happen is I'll be playing, right? Oh, so that's kind of a cool thing. It's called Live Configs, and then it's paired with this thing called Snapshooter. One of the things saves the states and attaches a number to it. The other one right here, I can have it call depending on what number of order I want for effects, and then it'll transition at whatever pace I would like, which is amazing. Like, I really like it. So all of this I think is really interesting to then have it go with visuals. So I have this whole thing here that essentially this would be like this dream world, right? And I'm still working on this, but if you can imagine, you know, somebody playing and then this kind of switches and starts moving. So if I have something like what, let's see, some Bach would be from this piece might be I guess the rolling arpeggios are pretty easy, but let's see. Yeah, maybe something a little more meandering. Like, oh my god. All right. Let me just pull up the music here. Yeah, so I've played this a lot on viola, but not on a 5-string electric here, which is I'm thinking would be really cool. Yeah, here we go. Anyway, I kind of see like this music with a visualization like this and a bunch more. Like I kind of, the goal with this would be to have a number of these different scenes and to travel to them and kind of have these storytelling moments. Something that I've done with a student is had them talk about challenging times in their life and learning how to play the instrument and kind of meshing our stories together. And yeah, I've really found it to be this really inspiring experience. Seeing how these it's like music that's kind of old in a way, having that melded with something with electronics and looping and some of these what we think of as like more modern approaches with like minimalism and that kind of a thing, but then adding our stories through spoken word or speaking right. Yeah, so that's what this is here, and I think it's super cool. Let's see, I don't know if anybody's actually listening to this, but if anybody is out there, feel free to say hello. And if you have thoughts, like hit me with something. Yeah, this is I have like a lot of ideas about what I want to do with this, but I am definitely looking for inspiration in many forms, and also collaboration. One of the goals with a piece like this is to make it so that people can participate, and part of the idea of creating a piece that is more universal, or is to the best that it can be universal, is that it also is participatory, in small ways or in big ways. Not trying to put anybody on the spot, but great. So I'm gonna like retire this section, but I think this is actually pretty good inspiration here. So what I'm gonna do is see if I can grab this. Computer plugged in, things are gonna go a lot better. Yeah, okay, cool. It is so I'm gonna come down to this bottom track here. that. That's been repeating forever. I'll save that. So it's kind of cool. I can yeah, this is just that loop right there. So I'm going to save that as like a little idea. Let's see. Let's call this ideas, right? Awesome. So if we come back over to the music, there's a lot to think about with this spot, but it looks like it was just did that with what is that preset 33, which is right here. And let's see. There's that like that. Can I do that? Okay. So I'm going to call this snap 33. And let's see if we can move this over here. That is really small. So let's make that a little bigger. And we'll maybe make that green, dark green. I always think of green as like it's my favorite color, but it's also a happy color. So it's nice in cueing for things that could potentially be stressful. Yeah, because I have to like tap my foot and then trigger this preset and then keep playing properly. So I'm just imagining in the future maybe that's a little stressful and just hey, it's green, it's good. Um, cool. And yeah, so this next section, right afterwards, let me just get rid of this. And the section after this, I feel has a lot of like attack to it. Um, it's very, yeah, like I mean, my gosh. Yeah. It has like a bum, ba bum. Really drives like a bunch of percussive elements pretty steadily. I'm wondering if it's possible to kind of combine like more of this together. Maybe not. Maybe. Who knows? Uh, Something I do want to point out is with a 5 string, there's a little bit of a different thing happening. Um, if you're looking like right at the bridge, let me see how close this is. You can see that if you play a stringed instrument, the D string is actually right in the middle instead of a little bit over to the side. So the angle of the 3 middle strings is very different. So if you are rolling to the middle there, what I would usually do on a 4 string instrument, which I've been playing most of my life, would bring me to what is now 2 strings instead of the singular 1 string. So I'm always, improving with different things that I do, but I'm still getting used to that, I would say. A little bit. It's like not the easiest stuff to play, just in general. But yeah, so jumping back to this music here. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll jam on something that's like a little bit percussive. Yeah, I have to remember to think violin. Yeah, viola's gonna be here. There we go. Yeah, so percussive with like sort of noodling, meandering. Um, that might be a little too cool for a little too peppy for like what's happening here. Um, let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will keep that in mind. Something else I'm just gonna point out that I am doing here is using a sort of custom control surface. This is running on my, I don't know if you can see my iPad here, but there it is. So iPad is down here. It has this on it that is controlling Reaper, And it's actually what's allowing me to open and close this. Like I'm tapping a button here, which you can see right here. Mobius, opening and closing. So if I make a loop, I can go and shape it here. And even recall effects, just like what I was doing with my instrument. So I just recalled 2. Let's see, let's try 4. Oh, I must have like cleared all these out. In any case, this is the volume for this too. And it's kind of cool because it's possible to get so many different sounds. There's nothing on this one or this one, and the rest do have things. The corpus chorus is going to have chorus at some point or another. I don't know when actually. And grain delay is a sort of granular delay. Not sure I really need that actually either, because with all of there are so many sounds that I can get with this as is. So, and then yeah, I can just kind of bring it back to right back to where it was before. Yeah, so I'm thinking that there might be a little bit of a compositional type of thing that I can do with this. Um, yeah, maybe a long delay of some kind. Let's see. It's kind of cool. Actually, a long delay could be like a loop. Sorry, I'm like thinking about this. I was gonna say it's kind of cool to take a long delay that's just naturally occurring and play with that. So essentially, playing with an echo of what you just played before that only comes back once, versus where a loop where it repeats, and it would then repeat each thing that you play, leaving the prior thing out of the echo. So a singular echo that is always happening, if that makes sense. Let's see here. So I'll just come over here and yeah, I'm just going to turn one of these on and let's see what happens. So this is a tape delay, and I'm going to go with the feedback is, yeah, so the feedback is a singular time. And then the amount. Yeah, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Or maybe I already am. so not long enough of a delay. Um, let's see. Yeah, let's turn that back off and retune. Yeah, I don't have a lot of delays on my deal here. Let's go with, yeah, it might be that I need to do this with a loop. But I do think the hits were kind of cool. Let's see. It's more of like an organ effect. Let's see. Yeah, I think there's like that moving organ sound that's cool when you have, these different hits happening. Yeah, so maybe that's just a matter of playing with a loop of what I just did before. So from the first section, so if I go to snap 33, and then the next one afterwards is this tumbling kind of moving thing, right? So see if I can nail this. So that's intense. But yeah, that's only happening over, what is that? 16 bars or so. Yeah, so we'll take like a little break on that. Yeah. And I think, when figuring out a piece like this, it doesn't have to necessarily follow exactly what's happening, but it helps to start there, I think. Um yeah, that's cool. All right. So I think I'm going to like leave maybe this whole first page alone cuz I think that kind of takes care of a lot of the stuff. Um as that goes. Yeah, so much intensity. And then the next section or so is kind of like that. It doesn't really break out of being super heavy for like a little bit, but it gets kind of uh dancey and things, especially yeah, like around here. What is that? Yeah, that's that old string crossing thing. Yeah. So essentially, the thing that is really interesting to me right now is actually going from right here. And I kind of think of this area as like the storm, which is, I think it's like kind of cheesy and accurate or corny. I say corny now, right? Corny and accurate. Um, this, I think, could be many different things. Um, like if I'm gonna turn up like a few settings here, you can kind of see. That's like maybe a little trippy. That is a really cool sound. So I have to figure out some programming for this though. So the way I have this set up is I'm sending my sound. That's the IN9 or input 9 right here. This is going over to this other sound, not pictured, I guess. Oh, no, it's going straight to the output. And then there's a bunch of, or what's labeled output, and there's like a bunch of plugins and things here. The only thing is that I don't know that I end up saving. Let's see if I can save this. So this can be, so just kind of organizing my sounds and things here. So essentially there's likely a, what is that? We start with 33. Start with 33 because I have a bunch of other presets in the beginning. So it's say 33, then 34. So let's go copy, paste, and we're going to say 34. And depending on how we use the material here, I think it's safe to say that there's probably a 35 here. And yeah, I'm going to say there's a 35 here, and I'll probably do some like looping or something like that. Again, it's like one of those things you have to decide what material is being used and what you're adding, and especially with, I have a narrative and a sort of abstract story experience that I want to have. Not necessarily going to have all of this in there. Sorry, Bach and others who would like that to be the case. Yeah. Let's see. You know what? It's not in there yet, so I'm just gonna, let's just make this 34. There's like no reason not to, and I can always change the order. Yeah, nice thing is that these are not tied to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or whatever it is there. So 34 is this, and that is going to be based on what tracks are selected. Ooh. All right. So if I do this and this, all right, so ideally, I actually haven't tried this yet. I can save this here. This is going to be for the storm. Hit enter or not. Actually, I can just click away here. So that should be good. Now that will only trigger if I have both of those tracks selected. So I just need to go in here, and this is for custom 36. And as you can see, this is a lot of work. like actually. And I need to add the output as well. So custom, let's say Trevor, which is me. So it should allow for, yes. All right. It'll allow for both of these to go through. And then right. So yeah, it looks like what I'll probably have to do is make it so that the next Snapshooter resets the tracks properly. So essentially, I've been affecting only one track at a time. It's the one that's selected. Now I'll be able to do both, but I'll just need to be careful about how I do this. So that is, and 33, 34. That was the one that I just did, correct? No, I did 36, didn't I? Yeah, that's not gonna work. Still stuck on the 36 thing. This needs to be here. So now we're good. That's in the 34, just to confirm. And we're good. All right. So now when I trigger 34, it will select both of the tracks that need to be changed instead of just the one. And I'll change that back. And then 35 needs to 35 needs to trigger the default of the output, and then slot, so it needs to trigger slot 35 and then the default of the output so that it returns the output track to its normal thing. Yeah, it's super complicated. I'm just gonna put that in here just so that I don't end up in a bad way when that does not happen. Or wait, no. So recall snapshot. So that needs to be 1. Great. So that way, with this one, it's going to affect the viola sound. With this one, it will affect the overall, like, everything sound of looping, all the other effects, and all of that for now. And then I can come back in here and yeah, I can come back in here and kind of fix that. Actually, why don't I remove this and say apply. Yeah, we'll say apply snap. There it is. So it will apply 1, which will get me back to normal with the output track, and then yeah, or none of this will work, but we'll see. I'll know. I'll know if it's not working, but it should work. I'm thinking that it will. All right, so let's see. Let's just test this out. So great. And yeah, I'll leave that there for now. Yeah, so let's cycle through it. So I have, and right now I'm cycling through my presets. Yeah, pretty cool. All right. Yeah, I think that might be that might be the thing for today. Great. Yeah, so I'm gonna think on this. This is not maybe I'll do a little bit more of this tomorrow. But um yeah. And maybe I'll do some of these sort of visuals. Like I'm moving around. You probably can't see me. Yeah, here. We'll do this. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, essentially like I'm moving around. You can see how it shows up in the visual. Yeah, kind of imagine that moving around and maybe, yeah, maybe a static background or kind of circling around this sort of 3D moving sculpture of noise and myself and some sounds and things. Um, yeah. Yeah, one of the things that's kind of funny is the clarity comes in pretty clear on my side. I don't know how this translates as well um, over a stream, or if it fully does. I think it's like a really beautiful moving thing. So kind of no matter what the resolution, it should be good. But yeah, it's really interesting. Really interesting things. So I think I'm gonna play a little bit more and then call it here. But for anybody who is hanging and kind of listening and things, if you have any thoughts, like, feel free to say hello and or not really. I think I'm just gonna do this as much as makes sense, and as I kind of explore the this work that I'm doing, which is very new for me in a lot of ways, and I'm thinking would be new and interesting for other people. So yeah, I'm also recording this, so I'll be like posting some things from it too. Um, cool. I'm gonna pick a spot to play from in this, you know, in this music here, and yeah, we'll see what that's like.